So new home builders in New Braunfels have what's called a waiting list, and that waiting list is for buyers who want to move to New Braunfels but have to wait for a home. So these new home builders are telling me now that those waiting lists are shrinking, or some of them are even disappearing. So that must mean the New Braunfels housing market is finally cooling off. So we're going to go over that today, plus what you need to know before you even consider moving here to New Braunfels about the New Braunfels housing market. And at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you my predictions for the New Braunfels housing market for the rest of this year and 2022. And if you're new to my channel here, thank you so much. You are awesome for joining us. Just hit that subscribe button because we come at you with a new video about what it's like to live in New Braunfels every single week. Tourism season is in high gear in New Braunfels, so people are here having a good time, distracted, smiling, and it rained here for basically 2 months in April and May. So, I mean, that plus tourist season, people are distracted. So naturally, the housing market in New Braunfels is probably gonna cool off, right? No. Look at this, just look at this craziness. The median sales price in New Braunfels now is well over $300,000 at $316,000. To put this into perspective, median sales price spring of 2020 was around $245,000. So we're up $70,000 since last year and up, listen to this, $20,000 from last month. Do you know how crazy this is? Austin prices, here we come. This happens when you have 71% fewer homes on the market than last year. I mean, it's like having 10 homes and all of a sudden you just only have 3 homes to sell. Homes are selling about 3 weeks faster in New Braunfels, and we have virtually no homes to sell in New Braunfels with only 2 weeks. 2 weeks of inventory. So when I did my round robin calls to new home builder reps this week, actually since April, here's what I get from the reps. I get, Rod, hey, we have no inventory. Or Rod, we have a couple homes in inventory, but they're not gonna be ready until the end of 2021 or the beginning of 2022. So those waiting lists I'm talking about at the beginning of this video, they're shrinking or disappearing because buyers are opting to back out of their contracts because they don't wanna wait anymore and they don't wanna pay any more money. And new build prices, just the production track builders, their prices have gone up almost $50,000 since last October. So why is this continuing to happen in New Braunfels, and is there any relief in sight for you, the buyer? First, the why, which simply includes supply and demand. Fewer homes for sale, a lot fewer homes for sale in New Braunfels this year. Here's what that looks like. 1 or maybe 2 homes on an entire street with a for sale sign, or a neighborhood with no for sale sign. So fewer homes, high buyer demand. The demand is coming from local buyers, regional buyers, and out-of-state buyers. A big chunk of our buyers are coming from California because of our quality of life in New Braunfels.
Because of the people and the beauty of the hill country, and obviously the cost of living is another point that we really like.
People like Dan and Lori are finding out that they can work remotely. They can work from home, or people just want to retire or be closer to their grandkids, or they get a new job and they find out what New Braunfels has to offer, what the area has to offer. Our ultra active outdoor lifestyle we talk about all the time here. Lower cost of living, our old world charm, live music, hill country areas, shopping, restaurants, events, activities, and super friendly people here in New Braunfels. Whenever I get on the phone with a buyer for the first time, I always ask this question, hey, why do you want to move to New Braunfels? And without fail, every buyer, 10 out of 10 buyers tell me, look, the living environment in our state has changed for the worse. The political climate has changed for the worse. That's what they tell us, which makes New Braunfels an even more desirable place to live. Add to that, interest rates are still low. Plus, COVID, the pandemic, that's a big one because a lot of our home supply chains shut down, including sawmills. And when we started coming out of the pandemic here in New Braunfels about this time last year, and what I mean by coming out is the housing market here in New Braunfels, the activity started picking up again. When that happened, buyers waiting on the sidelines to buy pounced and sucked up all of the inventory here in New Braunfels, and with basically no lumber left and other home materials becoming scarce. Low supply, high demand sent lumber prices soaring to all-time highs. Now it's scaled back a little bit in the last few weeks, but still these higher lumber prices and higher prices for other home materials eventually get passed on to you, the buyer. So with supply low, builders can only contract a few homes every month in New Braunfels. That means home building slows down, and when things slow down, you just bust that door open to more buyers jumping in the market and prices go up. It's not just a shortage of supplies that's causing a problem here in New Braunfels, it's also a shortage of workers.
It's nothing we've ever seen before. Supply chain was never an issue with building. It was always qualified buyers or mortgage rates. Now it's whether or not we can actually get the houses built for people.
So shortage of workers, shortage of home materials, as if we needed anything else to happen to us in New Braunfels. We got it anyway. 2 months of rain in New Braunfels, April and May, and that slowed down the building process. We have several families waiting for their foundation to be poured since April 1st, but you need 5 to 9 days of dry weather to pour. I don't think we had 5 to 9 consecutive minutes of dry weather in April and May. What all this means is if your new home build closing estimated date was, let's say, in September, now it's pushed back to November, December, or even January. But families still have to move to New Braunfels, but now they have to rent for a few months while their house is being built, and they have to spend more money instead of walking right into their brand new home. So as you can imagine, this is very frustrating for some buyers.
We were told that the home that was initially supposed to be done in August, then pushed back to the end of October, was now not going to be ready until November, December. And it was really jarring to hear that news, especially because we're moving across the country. And it's not just Rob and I, it's us and our 2 small children. We have a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old.
Definitely frustrating, but here's a silver lining in all of this. Buyers like Meg and Robin, they didn't cancel, they didn't walk away from their contract simply because they have to move to New Braunfels. And also, plus they know that they already have equity in their home and foundation hasn't been poured yet.
The delays are frustrating, but New Braunfels is where we want to be, and obviously where a lot of other people want to be too. It's a great place to live, and we're going to stick it out.
These are tough decisions, especially if you have to be here for a new job. Rob and Meg, they get it. They understand that everyone's hands are tied. 2 months of rain, shortage of supplies and workers, pandemic, everything slows down. So when's it going to speed up, and when is this New Braunfels housing market finally going to cool off? My answer in the short term in 2021, it's not going to cool off based on everything we just talked about, based on the rising market, based on what I'm seeing and hearing on the ground here. Now, longer term, 2022, 2023, I do see things cooling off a little bit. I do see home materials stabilizing, which means prices will also stabilize. But I do think we're going to continue to see price increases here in New Braunfels simply because buyers want to be in New Braunfels. Everything we have to offer, our location, our lower cost of living. But I don't think we're going to see those price increases like we have this month, 26% year over year. I think those price increases are going to be more like 6 to 15%. And some of these more recent reports lend to that. British Columbia is where we get a lot of our lumber. British Columbia is now investing millions of dollars in sawmills here in the South to ramp up production. Plus, existing sawmills here in the South have ramped up production the last few weeks. So we're getting more materials like lumber, but demand is far outpacing supply right now, so we need supply to ramp up even more. The government is finally stepping in to try and help rebalance the housing market. So how quickly the government responds affects housing, and so do buyers. We have families deciding to pump the brakes on their new build, hoping that the prices of lumber especially comes down a little bit, and other families are doing the same thing too, which in theory would allow supply to catch up and maybe stabilize pricing. But we don't live in theory. So if you're thinking about moving to New Braunfels and enjoying all this sudden sunshine we're having here, consider everything that we went over today. your motivation has got to be sky high, folks. I mean, level 10 stuff. If you plan to move here and visit here, hoping somehow the pricing is going to magically go down, my advice to you is to bring a really comfortable pair of shoes, because you will be kicking tires the entire time that you're here and wasting your time. And nobody, I mean, nobody wants that. Which reminds me, a shout out to one of our potential buyers who actually listened to us about the housing market here in New Braunfels and realized for everything that they wanted, they were just priced out of New Braunfels. So they still came to vacation in New Braunfels, but they didn't waste their time looking for homes. And I automatically respect that. People who respect other people's time. Bottom line, you have to go pretty deep, very deep, on your reasons to move to New Braunfels.
Our youngest daughter graduated high school and is going to college in Fort Worth at TCU. And we wanted to be closer to her, and it just kind of solidified it for us.
We bought land,
Yeah.
going to build, hopefully, our forever home.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're all in.
Yeah, all in. And
That's basically it. You're either all in or all out in the New Braunfels housing market. Now, if you're all in, I'd love to have that conversation with you. Make sure you email me, call me, or shoot me a text. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.